Greetings to the moto vlogging community and fellow YouTubers. Triketacular here. Something a little different today. I thought I'd do a little tour of our backyard. My wife was suggesting that I do a vlog even just for our own use while everything is in bloom. So I thought I better get to it before everything finishes its bloom cycle. We've got a little blueberry and raspberry plant we planted early this spring. As you can see, there's a few raspberries starting to come up on it. This is the backyard of our townhome complex. As you can see over here to the right is our neighbor's yard. They all have 2 rows of cedar trees right at the back of the yard. When we first moved in, we decided to lower the first row, and then we can plant some flowers here at the top. It kind of extends the backyard and makes it feel bigger. All of this was just covered in that ground cover plants that the developer put in. It's kind of like holly, those green leaves, and red little berries. Very hard to get rid of. But we cleared it all out. And my wife and I, mainly my wife, planted a number of flowers up along the top here. Under this first row of cedar trees there is a cement retaining wall. And each year when we have our landscaper that the Strata Corporation hires, he trims the cedar trees, and I asked if he could lower it about 4 inches below the cement retaining wall. You can see it there, so we can have easier access to come up at the top to do weeding and planting. But for the last few years, he always just trims the top of the trees just a little bit. I think it's just to make less work for himself having to pick up the trimmings, because the lawn cutting and the trimming of the shrubs, that's all included in our monthly strata fee. So we again decided to keep this top row low, because we lived in a condominium complex for 17 years, and the complex on the other side of the fence where we lived, their landscaping budget was cut down, and their cedar trees eventually grew up and blocked our beautiful view of the mountains to the north. And that was one of the reasons that we purchased that particular unit, for the view of the mountains to the north. Anyways, I do have a little trimmer, so I may try and come out and lower these. There's our little Anutschuk, I believe it's called, figurine. We've even planted a few potatoes here in past years, but had a very small yield. only enough for maybe about 3 suppers for the 2 of us, as the bugs and what have you want to come in and take over very quickly. And the soil here is very clay based, so you have to put a lot of topsoil down and fertilizer, and then it all starts to add up cost wise, battling with the slugs. But this is an ideal sized backyard for us. We let our little Chihuahua cross Lily out. She likes running around in the backyard. And our cat Max, we've had him out in the past on a harness, but he's mainly an indoor cat. So once he's out for a while, he starts getting antsy and starts meowing and wants to go back in. Because if we let him out on his own, he would just follow his nose and be gone. And we don't want to lose him. So it was an exciting time for us. Back in October of 2007, we moved in. Our particular unit was one of the last ones built in July of 2007. So we moved in on a Friday, and then on a Sunday we went about 25 miles and picked up our tabby cat, Max, who's now going on about 8 years old. I'll just show a picture of him here. He's here at his TV. There's Maxie. We'll open the window for him when it's warm enough, and he just loves smelling all the different scents outside. We don't do too much barbecuing out here because we are facing south, and it gets pretty hot by the afternoon. Becomes too uncomfortable really to sit out here. That's why I've put these 2 umbrellas up. I know some of the people have put a awning right over their patio, those aluminum awnings. So that's something that I may look into later. And there's my little Corvette model. Over here, our little Froggy on a motorcycle. But after these figurines have been out for a while, they seem to want to crack and get brittle. As you can see, the handlebars have broken off. And so this, since my Trictacular channel is mainly all about motorcycling and motovlogs, we have to get a picture in of a motorcycle. My wife found this wooden motorcycle at a thrift store, and it wasn't painted at that time. It was all just new wood, light colored wood. And our neighbor, he's a retired older gent, he likes fiddling around with woodwork, so he asked if he wouldn't mind attaching it to this bench we have. He said, "Oh sure, that'll give me something to do." So he said, "Do you want me to paint it as well?" So we said, "Well, if you're up to it, sure." So I think he did a great job on it. He even put on a little handlebar before there was no handlebar on it. There's a little gas cap there. And then he even painted the bench for us. So he asked, what do we owe you for it? And he said, oh, nothing. No, that he enjoyed fiddling around with it. But we gave him some of our homemade dandelion honey and a bottle of red wine. If you're interested in the homemade dandelion honey, I did a moto vlog on that as well, so you could check out some of my previous moto vlogs, and I describe the homemade dandelion honey. And then this is just a little display here that my wife has put up on our patio. Need to have a windmill here representing her Dutch heritage. There's my little grader I've had from as a child yet, when I was about 3 or 4 years old. And so I get to put a few of my little cars on here as well. We found this little trike in a thrift store as well, but I think the handlebars were broke off it. It's very hard to find a model of a motorcycle trike. There's several different kinds of Japanese motorcycles out there and Harley Davidson models, but I haven't found one of a trike yet. So that's our backyard. I'd like to thank you for coming along on this little tour. I kind of got inspired to do this also by watching some of Papa Tutu's videos. He's a fellow moto vlogger, and he's done some short videos of his backyard, cleaning the leaves around his pool and such. So I welcome your comments. Once again, this has been Triketacular with a little tour of our backyard. I hope you've enjoyed it. So until next time, take care and ride safe. Auf Wiedersehen.